Afghanistan, land of extremes, ravaged by war, and one of the most dangerous countries in the world. So you might wonder why I'm here. I came all the way from Australia for love. She was an aid worker in Kabul, and I was planning to propose. But it didn't work out as planned. I was broke, broken-hearted, and stuck in a war zone. But crazy things happen in Afghanistan. So when these TV guys called and asked me if I wanted to do a travel show about the country, I was ready to listen. They wanted me to find Afghan stories that had never been told. And me? I jumped at the chance. And that's how I became the extreme tourist. I'm on a quest to find two very elusive things in Afghanistan. Mysterious Kutchi nomads, who I want to join on their yearly trek across the desert. And the snow leopard, a dangerous and mighty animal rarely seen by foreigners, whose popularity with hunters is rapidly endangering its existence. This is a two-part quest that will see me go undercover in the fur trade, endure a road trip from hell, get shot at swimming a river border, take up arms with a famous hunter, race camels with Afghan nomads, and give a masterclass in hip-hop. But it all starts with the search for the snow leopard. I want to see one in the wild, and my first port of call is Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan. Now, I've come to the famous Chicken Street, which, as far as I can tell, has no chickens, but plenty of cultural artifacts and tourist knickknacks. And according to my sources, hidden behind all of this is a major black market for animal pelts, and in particular, the snow leopard. So I'm going to go undercover and see how easy it is to buy one. Within minutes, these shopkeepers produce illegal snow leopard pelts for me to buy, ranging from $300 to $1,500, depending on the number of bullet holes in the fur.
This is the snow leopard?
Despite huge fines for transporting across international borders, they tell me foreigners are still eagerly lining up to buy the pelts, which is why, despite a complete hunting ban across Afghanistan, snow leopards continue to be killed. So there you go, not so underground after all. Now, there's only supposed to be about 100 to 200 snow leopards left in Afghanistan, but you saw how easy it was to buy those pelts and how many there were in that actual shop, let alone the whole of Kabul and the other markets. So it made me realize that it's not enough just to hunt down the snow leopard. I want to hunt down the hunters of the snow leopard. And to do that, I've got to go to Badakhshan. Badakhshan, a province known for its precious gems, its poppy, its isolation, and its spectacular scenery. With mountains so high, Marco Polo reckoned even birds couldn't fly there, which is why it's also famous for snow leopards. They mainly inhabit the Wakhan Corridor, a long, thin 140-mile stretch of land separating Afghanistan from Tajikistan in the north, Pakistan in the south, and China in the east. Badakhshan is so isolated, the only way to get there is by UN plane. After a heart-stopping landing, I arrive in the capital, Faizabad, one of the poorest cities in the country. After a quick look around, I decide to begin my search for the snow leopard through a more conventional route. A tourist office. But unfortunately, it seems to be closed or shut down. And then I see this man. Do you speak English?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Great. And it turns out he works for the tourist office. In Pamir.
Yeah, in Pamir.
I ask him about getting to the Wakhan Corridor to track down the snow leopards.
No, it's very long.
It's a long way.
You must drive minimum 2 days.
Minimum 2 days.
Yeah.
He shows me how far we'll have to walk. But the full trip will be massive, which is why I want to make sure my plan to track down hunters is viable.
If there are people out there who are hunting them, shooting them, how can I find them? I want to be able to find those people.
I think it's not easy.
It's not
because
easy.
nobody want to shoot their illegal jobs.
Right.
He says he might be able to find me a guide, but it will take him a couple of days. I don't want to wait that long, so I hook up with a fixer I know named Hamid. A fixer is a guy who sorts things out for journalists, and Hamid says he knows a man out in the Wakhan who can help me, an English doctor named Alex. Hamid assures me that Alex will be able to help us find guides to track down the snow leopard. The only problem is we'll have to drive for 3 days just to get from the capital Faizabad to find him. The next morning we head off on our snow leopard expedition, and I'm blown away by what I see. Badakhshan has some of the most spectacular landscape in the world. Day one of the trip comes to an end, and despite the bad roads, we've made good time. But on day two, my trip takes a turn for the worse. Firstly, I come down with a sickness that means when I'm not running to the nearest toilet,
Back off. Stay right there.
I'm inside the car with a headache and a raging fever. All of which is made worse by the terrible roads and the fact that our car keeps breaking down repeatedly. It doesn't bode well for the rest of the trip. And then there's the checkpoints. At each town or village, you have to take in a permission letter to the man in charge to get him to sign off on it. If he does, you can go through. If not, you have to wait and convince him. This happens time and again, and because we are foreigners, the security people hold us for longer. And finally, there are the bombshells dropped by my fixer friend, Hamid.
We're 1.5 days into a 3-day journey, and my fixer has just told me that he doesn't have the number of the guy that we're going to visit. He didn't call him before we left, and he doesn't know if he'll actually be there when we arrive, which means that at the end of 3 days, we could be in the middle of nowhere in Badakhshan and have absolutely nothing to show for it. So if he's not there, we're fucked. Ay, 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 ay.
That night, we sleep at a rustic little guest house, and I try to relax with a nice cup of tea and a lie down. But the next day, things turn deadly. Melting snow from the mountains has turned the road into a series of raging torrents. This is dangerous. One false move and the car goes over. With us in it. We get through the first river. And the second. But they don't stop coming. And now, we're stuck. This is not good. If we get permanently stuck, our chances of rescue are small, and that puts us in a very dangerous position.
Basically, now they're trying to throw rocks in to reroute the river or to stop the river altogether. I'm not so sure about that. There seems to be no lines of communication open. So basically, if we get stuck here for tonight, we're in deep shit. Because this is not the kind of place that you want to be stuck.
I still don't understand exactly what